Hello everybody, welcome back to Modern Meta Matchups, and today we have a couple of classic decks from the format. Obviously they're always changing and adapting to what the format gives us, but today I'm going to be playing Living End, which has been helped out in the past year or so with a couple of cards such as Charlotte's Agent, as well as Grief from Modern Horizons 2. That's been a very big help to the deck, being able to actually play a Thoughtseize, because I can't play anything that costs less than 3 mana in the deck. And then finally, I also have Waker of Waves, which is a great addition to the deck. It allows me to kind of get 2 cards. It costs 2 mana to cycle, but it allows me some card selection and still will put creatures into the graveyard. What are you going to be playing for us today, JC?
I'm playing an old classic in blue-white control. It's a deck I really love. It's got a little bit of a splash of red for cards like Prismatic Ending, which we just got in Modern Horizons 2, Fire and Ice, and Counterspell we just got in Modern Horizons 2 as well. I'm really excited to play with Counterspell again. It's a really strong 2-mana answer to a lot of cards, and I'm looking forward to this matchup.
Oh, for sure. And if you haven't already subscribed, be sure to go ahead and click on that subscribe button. You can find it in the bottom right-hand corner. Some of you might think that you're subscribed, but it might just be YouTube recommending our content. And to make sure you don't miss out on anything, be sure to hit that subscribe button. And you can let us know you like our videos by hitting that big old thumbs up like button. It means a lot to us.
And leave us a comment down below letting us know what decks you want to see and any ideas you have for content you'd like to see in the future.
And without any further ado, we'll go ahead and jump into game 1.
Let's fight.
JC has won the die roll off camera.
And I would like to show that this is my companion, Kahira.
All right. And I'll see if I find some cards that I like, and JC might do something similar.
That's the hope. I don't like this hand. I don't like it one bit.
I don't love my hand, but I think I like it enough to give it a shot. Okay, so looking at my opening hand here, it's pretty good. The biggest problem is I only have 1 land, and that's a Misty Rainforest. To go along with this and hopefully help me find more lands, because I have everything else I need, I have a Street Wraith, which, you know, I can cycle without even paying any mana. I also have a lot of 1-mana cyclers here, with my Curator of Mysteries, my Striped Riverwinder, as well as my Architects of Will. On top of this, I also have a Waker of Waves, so if I do find that extra land, I can go ahead and put that in the graveyard for 2 mana. And then finally, to top everything off, I have a 3-drop here, and that is Charlotte's Agent, which will let me get to my Living End.
Alrighty, let's try this again.
Will you find a 6-card hand that you enjoy?
I sure hope so.
I sure hope not.
This is acceptable. And this is a bottom. All right, I've got a pretty decent opening hand here. I've got 3 lands, a Flooded Strand, a Scalding Tarn, and a Snow-Covered Island. I've got a Prismatic Ending, which doesn't do a ton in this matchup. I've got a Spreading Seas, where maybe I can shut Austin off of a color, but I at least get to draw a card. I've got a Counterspell, which is going to be crucial in this matchup, and a Cryptic Command, which is big in the late game. So we're going to keep this hand and hope to stop Austin from doing anything relevant. All right, I'm going to lead us off with this Scalding Tarn. And I'm just going to pass it over to you.
I'll draw, and I'll lead things off with a basic island.
Okay. On your end step, I'm going to fetch for a tapped Rogren Triome.
Sure thing.
Okay. I'll untap and draw. I see. Well, I will play this basic island.
Sure thing.
And I'll pass the turn to you.
At the end of your turn, I'll go ahead and cycle this Striped Riverwinder.
I have no responses.
Then I'll go to my turn.
Mm-hmm.
Up and draw. I'll play Misty Rainforest as land for the turn. I'll go ahead and cycle this Street Wraith by paying 2 life.
Yeah, you got it.
I'll also Tap for blue. I'll cycle an Architect of Will. Draw a card.
Yep.
And then I think I'm all set. I'll just pass it.
Okay. I'll draw. Okay. I'll play a Deserted Beach.
Sure thing.
And I'm just going to ship it right back.
At the end of your turn, I'll sacrifice the Misty Rainforest and I'll grab an untapped Steam Vents.
Okay.
And I will pay a blue and I'll cycle my Curator of Mysteries.
That happens.
Tap. Draw. I will play a Breeding Pool untapped.
Okay.
I would like to cast a Grief by exiling an Architect of Will.
I see. Well, I would like to respond
Sure thing.
by casting a counter spell.
Yeah, that happens. So Grief is countered. My Architect is exiled. I'll then pay 3 mana
Mm-hmm.
and cast Shardless Agent.
Yeah, that's unfortunate.
Cascade trigger.
Sure.
Might find a particular card here. And there it is, Living End.
Yep.
I would like to cast this Living End.
Well, unfortunately, I can't do anything about that.
Okay. So, Living End resolves.
Yep.
Technically, Shardless Agent's still kind of hanging out on the stack.
It is.
And I'll get back all of the cards, creature cards, from my graveyard.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I have some triggers here.
You do.
I would like to resolve the Grief first and then the Architect of Will.
Well, I have a Cryptic Command, a Spreading Seas, an Archmage's Charm, and a Flooded Strand.
I'll go ahead and have you discard the Cryptic.
Yep, that makes sense.
And then I'll look at the top 3 cards of your deck and I can put them back in any order.
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead and put this one here on top.
Mm-hmm.
That. And then Shardless Agent will come in and join the party as well.
Absolutely.
After that, I am all set.
Okay. I'll untap. I don't think there's really anything I could draw here that you would let me draw. Oh, look at that.
That's pretty good here, right?
Yeah, pretty not great here.
Prismatic Ending.
Yeah.
You can get my Shardless Agent.
I sure can. Unfortunately, even if I did, I would still be taking 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. I mean, that keeps me alive.
Yeah.
It's not great, but we got to do what we got to do. I'm going to play that Prismatic Ending, targeting your Shardless Agent.
It's exiled.
Play the Flooded Strand we know about and pass the turn.
Untap. Draw. Guess we can see if we can find lethal here. I'll pay a blue and I'll cycle this Curator of Mysteries.
Okay.
Because I have a Curator of Mysteries in play, I actually get to scry one
You
before
do.
I draw the card.
You do.
Put that on bottom. Draw. I'll go to combat and attack for 18.
I will go to 1. 1 is not none.
I'll play a Misty Rainforest and I'll pass the turn.
Okay. Ah, I see. Well,
Other land.
yeah, I'll play it tapped, unfortunately. I mean, not really anything I can do here. So I'll just pass to you.
I'll just untap, draw, and I'll go to combat and attack for another 18.
Yeah. I am super dead.
We'll get into sideboarding and then go over the game. Alright, so going into the sideboarding here, it's always a little bit tough with Living End because the list is very tight and there's not really a whole lot of room for things that you can kind of take out of the deck and still have it function. But I do really want to get some interaction that's going to be very important in this matchup. So I'm taking out my striped river winders just because they're kind of the least relevant of my cyclers. They're not going to do as much as a lot of the other ones are going to fulfill the role of in the deck. Coming in for these cards, I'm bringing in a lot of hate that's going to be hurting either my ability to cascade or just removing my graveyard entirely. Generally speaking, in Modern, those cards are always artifacts or enchantments. So to deal with that, I have my Foundation Breakers, as well as a copy of Force of Vigor. These are both able to take out enchantments and artifacts, so I can take out things like Chalice or Rest in Peace or any other sort of graveyard hate, a lot of them being artifacts. On top of that, I also have a couple of Mystical Disputes that I want to bring in to kind of combat any sort of counter spells that I might need to worry about. And to fill the slot for that, I'm taking out a Shardless Agent because it does find my living end, but it's sorcery speed, so I can't protect it with a Force of Negation. So it's a little bit less good. Also, I have to worry about a board wipe, and if I do it on my turn, he can just untap and play a board wipe. So doing it at sorcery speed isn't as good as instant speed for this matchup. And then Grief is just kind of the last card that I can take out. I can't really afford to take out any more cyclers, so unfortunately it just has to kind of be Grief here. So that's what I'm doing.
Cool. Well, speaking of artifacts and enchantments, I am bringing in 2 enchantments that are pretty good in this matchup in Rest in Peace. I don't want Austin to have a graveyard. I don't want him to be able to bring creatures back, and Living End doesn't do much if there's no creatures in the graveyard. And I'm also bringing in a single copy of Flusterstorm and 3 Dovin's Veto, just to deal with Living End and make sure that that doesn't do anything. More interaction for that. Also interacts with Force of Vigor, which is kind of nice, and stops a Force Negation as well. To get those in here, I've got to cut some cards. So I'm cutting 2 Spreading Seas. Austin's got a lot of blue in his deck. I'm not usually cutting him on a color, so it's not doing much here. It does draw me a card, but I'd much rather have the Rest in Peace. And Prismatic Ending hits almost nothing in his deck, and it's just not doing much for me other than letting me free cast my Solitudes. I would much rather have these extra counter spells. So that's the plan.
Get to game 2.
Let's do it.
I get to go first?
Nah. I need a chance.
Well, if there's another game, I'll go first.
That's true. I don't love that idea, but here we are. I cannot keep this hand.
I think I can try this. So my opening hand here in game 2 is less risky than the first time, and it's still pretty good. I have a basic island as well as a Botanical Sanctum. To go along with this, I have some cyclers in my hand. I have a Curator of Mysteries as well as a Waker of Waves. And to kind of round out this hand, the last 3 cards I have are going to help me either stop JC from stopping me with my Foundation Breaker, which can destroy some sort of artifact or enchantment that might be out to prevent me from doing my game plan. And to make sure I can execute my game plan, I have 2 things that'll cast that Living End, and those are a Shardless Agent as well as a Violent Outburst. So I'm really hoping that between my Disruption to be able to stop his hate and these cyclers that I have, that I can get there and win the game.
Ready. Let's try this again.
Okay. What do you got this time?
I'll find out. Ooh, I like this one. I will keep it and put this on the bottom.
And then I get to go, right?
Nah, I get to go first.
Never works.
All right, so this 6 is looking pretty good for me. I've got 3 lands, a Deserted Beach, a Hollowed Fountain, and a Steam Vents. I've got a Chalice, which is going to help stop Living End from going off. I've got Dovin's Veto and Archmage's Charm to back that up and counter any creatures he might try to hard cast. So this hand is about as good as it gets in game 2. I do have to put a card to the bottom. I would like to keep this Supreme Verdict, but out of the cards in my hand, this is the worst one, so to the bottom you go. So the first thing I'd like to do is start with a Chalice of the Void on 0.
Yep.
And then I'd like to play this tapped Hollowed Fountain.
Okay.
And I will pass the turn.
Draw. And I'll go ahead and lead off with a Botanical Sanctum.
Okay.
Then I'll pass.
I will untap and draw. I will play this Scalding Tarn, and I'll flip it right over to you.
At the end of your turn, I'll go ahead and cycle my Curator of Mysteries.
Makes sense?
And draw a card. Go to my turn.
Mm-hmm.
Draw. Play a land. Then I'll pass the turn.
On your end step, I'd like to fetch with the Scalding Tarn for a Rogran Triumph.
Sure.
Alrighty, I'll untap. And I'll draw. I will play a Deserted Beach.
Sure thing.
And I will pass the turn to you.
At the end of your turn, I would like to pay 2 and discard this Waker of Waves.
Mm-hmm.
Then I get to look at these 2 cards.
You do.
I'll put this one on my hand and that one.
Mm-hmm.
Go to my turn?
Yeah.
I'm going to, again, discard a Waker of Waves. Put this one in my hand and this one in the graveyard.
Okay.
I'll pay 2 life to cycle a Street Wraith.
That happens.
Then I'll play a land.
Okay.
After that, I'll pass the turn.
On your end step, I would like to play an Archmage's Charm, and I would like to draw 2 cards.
Yeah, that happens.
Okay. I'll untap. I'll draw. And I will play a tapped Steam Vents.
Sure thing.
And I will just ship it right back.
At the end of your turn, I'd like to cycle this Curator of Mysteries.
Okay.
My turn. I'd like to discard another Waker of Waves.
Oh, okay. Man, we're just finding all of those.
I'll draw this one and put that one into my hand.
A lot of 7/7s in your graveyard.
Yeah, unfortunately, there's a Chalice of the Void. To try to deal with that, I have a Scalding Tarn.
Okay.
And I'll immediately sacrifice it and grab a untapped Steam Vents.
You got it.
And before my turn ends, I would like to pay 2 mana. I'd like to attempt to evoke a Foundation Breaker.
You know, I really don't appreciate that. I would like to counter it with an Archmage's Charm.
Yeah, nothing I can do about that. After that, I'm all set. I'll pass.
Okay. We'll untap and draw. I will play the old Scalding Tarn.
Good thing.
And I will just pass the turn.
Up. Draw. Well, it didn't work last time. Maybe it'll work this time. I do have another Foundation Breaker that I would like to evoke yet again.
Yeah, unfortunately, I can't stop it this time.
Seeing as there's only one legal target, that's going to be the target.
Goodbye, Chalice of the Void.
Welcome to the graveyard.
Of course he has a second Foundation Breaker. Of course. Why couldn't it have been Force of Vigor? At least Dovin's Veto could have countered that one. Now he's gotten rid of my Chalice, and this stupid Living End is going to kill me. I don't know how I'm getting out of this one. Oh man, I have no idea what I'm going to do here.
I am all set.
On your end step, I would like to sacrifice the Scalding Tarn for a tapped Hollowed Fountain.
Sure thing.
Alrighty, let's untap and draw a card. Well, I'll play a Flooded Strand.
Sure thing.
And I'll pass the turn.
Untap. Draw. think I'll just play this breeding pool untapped.
Okay.
And then I'm all set. I'll pass it.
I'll fetch on your end step for a basic plains.
Sure thing.
Alrighty, I'll draw for the turn.
You got it.
I will play another Flooded Strand.
Sure.
I'm going to pay 3 mana,
Yeah.
and I'm going to put Kahira into my hand.
Yeah, that happens.
And I'm just going to pass the turn.
At the end of your turn, I would like to try and cast a Violent Outburst.
Well,
And I'll Cascade.
you may Cascade.
Let's see what we find. I have a feeling that it's going to be that card.
Well, I'm going to respond by casting a Dovin's Veto,
I can do about that.
targeting the living end. Violent Outburst, though, I'll let that resolve.
Violent Outburst resolves.
Yeah.
Alright, my creatures get +1.
Sure do.
My turn after that?
It is.
Tap. Draw. I'll play a Sunken Ruins. I would then like to cast a Shardless Agent.
Yes.
I would like to Cascade.
You may Cascade.
Let's see what we find this time. I have a... Oh, there it is.
Well, I would like to respond to Living End.
Yeah, sure thing.
I would like to sacrifice this Flooded Strand to go get a basic island. So I do have a second copy of Dovin's Veto, and I'll target Living End.
Yep, Living End is countered.
You get a Shardless
I get a
Agent.
Shardless Agent. All right, I have a 2/2.
You do.
I'm all set.
Alrighty. We'll untap. And I will draw. I will play Castle Vantress.
You got it.
And I will pass the turn.
At the end of your turn,
Mm-hmm.
I'd like to cast a Violent Outburst.
Yeah,
I'll Cascade yet again.
you will.
I'm to cast a Living End.
There's a lot of big, stupid creatures in your graveyard, unfortunately. Yeah, Living End, unfortunately, is gonna resolve.
I am so glad that this Living End gets to resolve. I was very worried he would have another Dovin's Veto or something, because this was the last Living End in my deck. If he countered this, I was on the backup game plan of hard cast your stuff. And that's not where you want to be in Living End. So I feel like I dodged a bullet here, and I'm very lucky to have this Living End resolve. So Shardless Agent will end up getting sacrificed, but more importantly for me, I get back a couple of Foundation Breakers, Waker of Waves, a couple Curator of Mysteries, some more Waker of Waves, a lot of things, really. Put a lot of stuff into play. Then Shardless Agent gets sacrificed.
Yep, that is a thing that happens.
Go to my turn.
Yes.
Untap. Draw. Like to go to combat.
Well, before you go to combat,
Yeah.
I'm going to try and get extremely lucky. So I'm going to cycle a Shark Typhoon for 2.
Yep.
So I will get a shark that is a 2/2,
You got a 2/2 shark.
and I will draw a card. I'm hoping to draw Cryptic Command.
I see.
Would you believe that I drew Cryptic Command?
No, but I also don't care because I have a Force of Negation.
Dang. Yeah, okay.
I also have another Force of Negation.
I see that.
I'd like to go to combat.
Yeah.
A lot.
I'm super dead.
I'll
Yeah.
send that stack.
There is no way I'm living through that. So I am very dead.
Games. Well, I would like to say those were close, but I don't think they were.
Game 2, there was something going on for a while. I thought I had you, but
I was worried in game 2. If you had had one more veto to counter me, I was going to be out of living ends, and I think you would have probably had the game from there.
yeah. And game 1, just having the grief into the cascade was just, I wasn't beating that. Would have taken a lot.
Yeah, definitely. And if you want to check out any more videos, you can find one right about there.
And if you click over here, you can subscribe to our channel.